Welcome to The Route to Revenue, two entrepreneurs sharing the path to curbside cash flow. I'm Ben.
And I'm Mike. We're both founders of two successful recurring revenue businesses in the home services industry, and we've built our companies from startup to profitable and scalable operations.
This is the show for entrepreneurs serious about building sustainable home service businesses. Whether you're starting out, scaling up, or ready to move beyond trading time for money, we share proven strategies for creating predictable monthly revenue streams.
And while our expertise comes from the bin cleaning industry, the systems and principles we discuss work for any recurring revenue home service. Think lawn care, pest control, pool maintenance, and beyond.
Each episode, we break down real-world strategies for customer acquisition, retention, operational efficiency, and building systems that generate consistent income while you step back from daily operations.
Are you ready to transform your home service businesses from a demanding job into a profitable asset? This is The Route to Revenue.
Hi, and welcome to The Route to Revenue. I'm Ben Magee with Green Can Cleaner, and I've got my co-host here, Mike Walker with Spiffybin. Say hi, Mike.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today, Ben?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Awesome. I think we got a good episode here coming up. I was looking at our list here, and it looks like we're going to talk about expanding into ancillary revenue streams, how to increase that profit and revenue from other businesses. Or other products that you can offer your clients. It's a pretty good one. I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's going to be really good. So do me a favor and why don't you make the case for, why would we even look at ancillary revenue sources?
Well, I guess my first thing would be we don't look at it. And that might sound kind of strange, but we've got to make sure that we've got our core business solid, right? First. So I think long before you think about, I'm going to expand into this or expand into that, we've got to make sure all of our ducks are in a row and we've got everything, hitting on all cylinders on our core business. But then once you do that, you've got these group of people that know you, they like you, they trust you, they're happy with your work because you've made sure your core business is hitting on all cylinders. And then you go, well, they do other things. They need other services that we can help out with. And I think that's one of the best uses we can have for our clients. We've spent time nurturing them and doing well for them. Why not? And they need this other service, whatever it might be. Far be it for us to not help them provide that. If we can do that equally as well, too.
Right. I agree. And I think that you hit the nail on the head. The first thing is, like for me, can cleaning is my business. And if I've got this other side thing that's coming in and taking away from that, then I need to refocus on can cleaning. Now, if I've got this side thing that can come in and add to it and add to revenue and it doesn't take away from the can cleaning, then that's a different story. So right. I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head there. How do you figure out if that revenue source is going to complement or detract? Is there a way to test it and figure it out?
I think there is. I think you want to look at what that next business is going to be or that next service is going to be. And then you want to make sure that's something that you can do well. And that you can do it better or as good as the people that specialize in that. Because ultimately we're competing against people that are already doing that, whether it's, power washing or junk removal or bulk can cleanings or Christmas lights. There's a lot of different services out there that you can add to your, and monetize through your customers. But you just got to make sure that you're capable and willing to do a fantastic job, right? Because now you're kind of putting your current customers and your core business on the line. And if you fail on that, that ancillary business, you most likely are going to also lose the core business, right? So you have to be real careful with that. Homeowners they're often looking to bundle services, right? I remember one time I'm reminded early on where I went to this cul-de-sac, and it was like a traffic jam in this cul-de-sac. And normally you go in, make a U-turn and go, right? And I had this house in the back right-hand side of the cul-de-sac, and I counted, and there was like 6 people on site. There was me, there was the lawn guy, there was a maid, the pool guy, that's 4. I think maybe even a fertilizer, and somebody else. I don't even know what it was. And I was like, damn, there's so many people that were in there. And I'm thinking to myself, not only did this guy have a real expensive hour that he's spending a lot of money on for all these people to be here, but secondly, there's opportunities, right?
Right.
And so for me, I you want to look at your risk and your reward, and if you can utilize your equipment and make it allow you to make more money, it's going to be a better situation for the business and for your profitability. And so that's what I focused on first. Do you do any other ancillary businesses, Ben?
We do. So I think that probably the one for our business it's the natural thing that makes sense is, power washing. And so, we've already got these amazing pressure washers on these trucks. And so why would we not use them? And so what we do, we've done a bunch of different things. We do a little bit of commercial pressure washing, but it has to be a recurring source. We've put some kind of rules on it because I don't want to be sending trucks out to, all over the place at all hours of the day and night and not have my equipment taken care of. But the thing that we've started to do, as far as, what you were mentioning, where we have a customer list that's already there, is we do spring garage cleanouts.
Right.
And we just do a quick email in the spring, and we go out and we do a set price for a 2-car garage, and, it's 45 minutes worth of work, and we do, $150 for it. And
nice. Yeah.
People know us, they trust us, they don't mind having us in the garage to do that. And so we get a lot of those set up. We go do them before the route. It gives, a little bit of extra revenue. And I know that for you do some house washing, don't you?
We do. Yeah. The first thing we did as well was, when we bought the truck, we bought a surface cleaner, which, for those that maybe don't know, it looks like a push lawnmower, but it's got a hose obviously attached to our truck. And we use hot water, high pressure. We spray it all down. We sanitize it, not deodorize it. Sorry, we'll sanitize it and or heat it up to get the best cleaning. And then when we're all done, we do like a post treat, and that helps whiten it up. But it also kills any mold or mildew that might have just been sprayed around. I think it's a little different than what a lot of the pressure washer only companies do. Most of those guys, are just doing, cold water machines, and we tend to do that. Then we got into house washing because, we have mold and mildew occurs on homes, or we have bugs and spiders and all of the organics that grow on the home. Well, you just, you get a couple processes ironed out, and you can house wash as well. And that's also, profitable, needed surface. And what we'll do is a lot of times, in the spring, we'll run through and we'll do a big push. Usually starts right around January 1st, because that's when spring starts in Atlanta. We get through the holiday season, and we'll start setting up for after pollen season, or even during pollen season, different times like that. And we'll go through and get it set up, and it works out really, really well, and it does a great job. And again, you have to make sure you do a great job in your ancillary business. So we'll set that up, and we'll do it on Mondays when we don't typically run. And we utilize that day because we're currently a day after service. So Mondays we don't do a lot. Sometimes we'll be off. That's great. Sometimes we'll go do bulk cleanings at haulers. Other times we'll set up for the pressure washing or the house washing. And everybody that does, not everybody buys it, right? Because we price it as if it's, there's not really a lot of deals, right? The price is the price. And at the end of the day, I'm not ashamed of what we charge, because it allows us to spend the time and do the great work. If I lowered it, I'd have to hustle through to make it make sense. And, that's not how I want, that's not how I think my clients want it. And, I know that we're not the service for everybody, but I do know that we do a great job, and that's critical. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, another service that I think you could add, and we've kind of toyed with this, but haven't done it, is junk removal. You could test that pretty easy, because you could just go rent a trailer from Home Depot and put it on the back of a pickup truck and go do it. And I wonder, when you've got a client list, when you take into account, and you and I don't count for numbers, we don't count our one-time cleanings, our on-demand cleanings, but we only look at our recurring revenue subscriptions. But when you look at that entire client list, we've got a big client list that's interacted with us. And
Absolutely.
so, an email saying, hey, we've decided, we do junk removal, and let us know when you've got something. I mean, I can see where that could work. We haven't tried it yet. It's something that we've kind of talked about. There's certainly some revenue potential there, and I could see that working. Another thing that you just mentioned is bulk cleanings. We actually do a lot of bulk cleanings. And I don't look at that as ancillary to can cleaning, because the bottom line is that it's still cleaning cans.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense. We can send a guy out, and, we've got some smaller haulers that we do. I mean, I was at one the other day and did 10 cans, and that's a monthly account. And it's just in or out. And so we do things like that. But you do have to, one of the things that you've got to consider is that it does stretch that route out a little bit to stop and do 10 cans in one place. Or we've got another one that, it's another monthly that is 25 to 35 cans a month. And, they're pretty consistent.
We've got one of my guys today is going, and part of his route is 55 cans at a hauler. So when he leaves with not a hauler, I'm sorry, with a town. When he leaves with a hose, so he can hook up to water if we need it.
Right.
Don't always need it, because they're not really that dirty. They're used at festivals. They're used one day, and we've cleaned them. We clean them the next week. So the festival was at last weekend. It was the wine fest we went to. We were the water sponsor there, but then we also get paid to clean the bins and leave them ready for the next one. So this is our last festival cleaning of the season, but we do it 6 times throughout the season. So, because they have 6 different festivals that they need these things cleaned for. So it works out really well. But, like you said, you have to plan capacity, you have to plan numbers, it doesn't take them a whole lot of time because you're in one spot. But those are nice ones to add on for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how do you test these services without overcommitting?
So I would say that so I recently, I guess it's now our 3rd year. I got into doing, so I look at the year and I figure out what we're going to do throughout the year to get, to have what makes sense. So spring, January until say May, I look at pressure washing. That's a great season for hardcore pressure washing. So we try to push pressure washing really hard those times. And then May to say August, even September, is a lot of one-times. We push one-times. And not that we push it by discounting it a ton, but we just get a lot of one-times, just the way it works out. In our advertising, people aren't interested perhaps or want to try it out or whatever. So we do get a lot of one-times. So that tends to fill it. Plus we have some pressure washing. And then about 3 years ago, I guess this is our 3rd season. So 3 years ago, we got into Christmas lights. So around here and probably elsewhere, they do a pretty extensive Christmas lighting where you cut customized strands to your house, and you do minis in shrubs and trees and whatnot. And so we got into that, and you asked, how did you get started on it? Well, mine was a real subtle sell. I didn't do a blast email, and I still don't, frankly, because I don't have the bandwidth to do too much. But I just changed our alert. So they get a text message and an email 2 days and 1 day prior to can cleaning. Well, come about September, I changed that to say, hey, Spiffybin will be out tomorrow to clean your bins, power wash your driveway, or install Christmas lights. Super soft sell. I mean, it's not even a sell.
Right.
It's just, and then people go, Christmas lights, interesting. And then they'll call. So the first year, I think we only did like 5 or 6 installs. The next year we did 10. And then this year we're at like 15. So there's not crazy growth, but most of that is because I'm the one doing it with a helper. I have one of my guys come a lot of times. And frankly, I'm not the smallest guy. And so I don't like to be on roofs. And I more importantly, don't like to fall off roofs. So we really are very selective in what we take, in what business we do and what houses we do. Again, it goes back to, we can't screw it up or we lose another piece of our business. But that's a nice, it's a good product. It's pretty profitable. And, certainly subsequent years, it's even more profitable because of the method that we use for doing the lights. So that's how we tested it out. And I do that with power washing, and that's on there all the time. That's on there year round. And I think if I were to get into junk removal, or dropping off a bin and having them fill it and I pull the bin and dump it, I would probably do something similar. That I might go a little bit more on. But at any one point, 10% or so of your customers is doing something. They're either window washing, or 10% of them are doing junk removal, or 10% of them are doing Christmas lights, maybe more, 10% are power washing. So far be it for us not to let them know that we're in the business and we'd like to help them as well. And it's easier for them, right? They don't have to meet with other people. They've already known our work ethic.
Yeah, I would say most of our customers, when they call and say, hey, will you come and look at this? It means that, if it's a pressure washing job or something like that, it means that they want us to do the work and they're willing to pay basically whatever we tell them we're going to charge them.
Doesn't mean that you kill them. Doesn't mean that you kill them.
I think, there's a saying, you can shear a sheep many times, you can only skin it once.
Oh, I like that one. I haven't heard that one before.
That's awesome. So I don't, you don't skin them. You're just there to do a little shearing, just trim that hair a little bit. So,
right.
So I think one of the things that we need to talk about too, and you've touched on this, but I think it'd be easy to take on too much too fast, and then your quality dips and people are looking at you and going, well, this isn't the Spiffybin or the green can cleaner that I know. And, or if you're, you and I talk about this a lot. What if you underestimate the equipment and the disposal costs and things like that? So I think that you've got to go slow on these. And to your point where you just added the Christmas lights as kind of a reminder thing, going slow makes a lot of sense when you're adding these things in. Now, I think in our industry, there's a point too that, and I don't remember the business name or that. There's a guy in Texas that does can cleaning and pest control. And I want to say is it the Can Man or something like that? Anyway.
Man, Yep.
He's been very successful at it. He's grown. He's a great point too for what taking an additional revenue stream and bringing it into your business can do. Have you kind of watched that story evolve?
I did. I watched that one, and there's another gentleman that does Magee out in Idaho. He was in the can business. I think they actually got out of that business, and they would do. But he's done crazy lights. Like he probably has 1,000 customers doing Christmas lights. And both of those businesses have embraced and utilized the number of people that are on a recurring system and used it for good, to help their businesses grow. And I like that aspect, especially the can part or the pest control one, because his is legitimately a second recurring business, which is fantastic instead of the one times, even if like I've got many people that do lights several years in a row, but it's recurring, but it's not as, on the frequency that we would like, but not a lot of people want 4th of July lights put on their houses or whatever. So, but maybe there's an opportunity for that. Who knows? But yeah. Oh, go ahead.
When someone gets that serious where they're wanting 4th of July lights, I think they're going to permanent lights instead of having you come hang them every year.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. I cut you off. I didn't mean to.
No, I think, we kind of touched on the power washing, and we kind of touched on, revenue potential and whatnot. Do you go on all your power washing jobs? How do you handle that? Do you have a separate staff that does that? Do you train individually? Are you, or is that your little pet project?
It depends. So obviously at first I was on every job, and now I've kind of backed off of that a little bit as I've got, technicians that I feel like I can trust. And, it starts kind of like you said with the lights. I'm taking a guy with me and he's learning how to do it. And we're putting systems and processes into place as we figure out how to do these things. And then, at some point we have a small job come up, and I just send him out to do that small job, and we see how that goes. And I show up, and most of the time they don't even know this, but after they've said, okay, it's good, and they've gone, I show up and actually look at it and go, oh, look at this. Well, here's what went right. Here's what went wrong. Let's do a little training. And so, I'd say a combination. And I'm still, I've got a couple right now that are recurring that have to happen early in the morning before things open. And I just don't want to bring one of my guys in that early. And so I go do them, It's just about every Thursday I'm out of bed and moving pretty early so that I can get to those and get them done before business is open and we can be out of the way. How about you? What do you do on that?
Yeah. So the power washing part, it's really me. Me and then a couple guys, depending on what happens. I have not been willing or haven't trained. It's not the problem, but I schedule it in a way that it doesn't impact the routes. So it's a Monday basically, or another day that I can go that maybe the trucks aren't busy and I'll bring one of those guys. But right now I'm to the point where it's more of an equipment issue. I don't have a dedicated power washing truck, so I use what we have, which is great. Again, it's a great use of a truck we already have, but ideally those trucks are out every day, all day. So that becomes a little bit more difficult. So we are looking at purchasing a pressure washing, either a skid for the back of a truck or a trailer that is dedicated to that. Or just maybe get another truck, another spiffy truck that's not so busy, and then still can do that. But it seems silly to have such an expensive piece of machinery that's at a house for 2.5, 3 hours doing pressure washing when it should be doing what its core business is. But, whatever. So ultimately it's my little pet project with another guy. We did have a couple, and some of these can be big ones. We did a commercial condominium with 131 doors. So there's 131 doors where we do the driveway and the sidewalks and the curbing throughout the whole community. And that's a great one. That would be that one we do on, because we run the first 4 weeks, we have 3 days where a lot of times where we don't have anything going on, 29, 30, and 31. Well, for that particular time, we brought all 3 trucks. We did it 3 days, 1 week. And then I went back the next week for a touch up / hit the driveways that weren't available, because sometimes you just couldn't get cars to move. So we did it in 4 days. And that was a nice profitable product. We were tired every day, but we got it done. So, it's kind of a hybrid, I would say, a little bit. Christmas lights is all me. with the helper as needed. And then bulk cleanings, we've got that one squared away. Everybody knows how to clean bins and what to do. And I might show up, like the last time we had a new guy, I showed up to a location because it's a little funky how we set up, where we go, how we do it. And rather than just do a map, I just said, well, I'll meet you over there, and got them set up, started to do 5 or 10, and then said, okay, see ya, and took off and got on with the rest of my day type of thing.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as the junk removal part goes, how would you add something like that? Because that's going to require, a pickup truck of some sort, or another, cab over that has a, dedicated. That's going to be, I guess it goes back to how we started our businesses. Do we go on the cheap to begin with, or do we go full bore from the beginning?
Well, I think when it comes right down to it, that actually you could add on the cheap and figure it out. I mean, I think that you can go rent a trailer from Home Depot for, $100 for the day or something. And so, maybe not the most economical thing, but if you put something out there and get some response, then I think you go rent a trailer and you schedule everything on the same day, and you go just take care of 3 or 4 of those. And it does give you a chance to move into that. And there's certainly other things, I mean, landscapers that are listening to this, they already have a trailer. So, I mean, it would be really easy for them to do. And so I think that there's a way of doing it, and doing it on the cheap, and kind of dipping your toe in the water rather than just going in full bore.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so, yeah, that would be the way that I would do it if I was going to add it. So, Mike, why don't you do me a favor and give our listeners kind of a summary of what we've talked about today, and maybe give them an action step or two.
Absolutely. I think we talked about it from the beginning, right? The beginning was talking about making sure that your core business is solid and rock solid, and you're up in reviews. I've got over 1,000. You've got almost 1,500 or more reviews that are solid 5-star reviews. I would hate to mess that up by doing something, half-assed, if you will, and not doing it well, and then all of a sudden start to diminish those things. So I think that's key. And then I think you got to find something that you want to do. Something that would work for your best benefit, that works with your equipment, perhaps works with your desires, your skills. And then test the waters, test it on a small scale. I think initially, same reason, you want to make sure that your capacity, I'd hate to, launch it to 2,000 people and then find out I got 200 requests for something. And then it's going to take me 6 weeks to get back to all of them, or whatever the number might be, or not even be able to produce. Right. So I think going into it slowly is the way to go. And then make sure you have the bandwidth in the company, right? If you're trying to fill hours for people, that's one thing. If you have to hire staff and you're unsure, that's possibly another thing. But at the same time, I think you want to test the waters first, and that's what we're looking to do. So call to action, I think, would be, do some soul searching, do some, looking at revenue needs and goals. And in my opinion, this should be the highest profitable product that you offer too, or else why are we doing it? Because we can continue on our path of, whatever your profit margin is on your core business. But this one, if we're going to try to learn a new business, probably want to make sure that, that it's profitable. And, we're not going to be using a lot of money on advertising, so that's going to help. But, we are going to have to probably acquire some tools or skills or ladders or, pressure washing stuff. So all of that kind of thing. How'd I do? Did I do all right?
I think you did good. Yeah. What I heard was, think about it, make sure that it fits, make sure that you want to do it. And then, kind of dip your toe in the water and don't just jump in. Make sure that you can actually perform and that you don't ruin the core business that you have.
Perfect.
And then, the last step is actually putting it into action. So, okay. Well, thanks everybody. I feel like we've had a great episode. Thank you, Mike. And
thank you.
If you liked what you heard today, then please share it, give us a like, and thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Well, Ben, that's a wrap on another episode of The Route to Revenue. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you would hit like, subscribe, and leave us old guys a comment about what we did well. And if we did anything wrong, can it and keep it to yourself.
If today's strategy sparked some ideas for your business, don't keep them to yourself. Share this episode with a fellow entrepreneur who could benefit from these insights.
Remember, building a recurring revenue business, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Take one actionable step from today's discussion and implement it in your business this week.
Want to connect with us between episodes? Find us on Facebook or at our website. We'd love to hear how you're applying these concepts in your own home service business.
And until next time, keep building those recurring revenue streams and stay on the route to revenue.
The route to revenue.
Nice, Ben.